What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. All my social media is in the description box. But this is going to be your review of Southern Charm New Orleans season 2 episode 7. So look, we see a little anyway, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Jeff decides he wants to have a Friendsgiving. He said, "Look, I don't really have my family, but I do have my friends, and my friends have been there for me through this whole situation. They've had my back, they've supported me. So I want to do something for them going into the holidays. And so instead of having, a regular old Thanksgiving, I'm gonna have a Friendsgiving." We see that him and Benny Poppins, who we met last season, he was the bartender and everything. Whenever Reagan had an event, he was somewhere, whether the cook, the bartender, or something. And he's actually been working with Jeff, helping him learn how to cook and kind of just be independent and do his own thing or whatever. So, um, it seems that Jeff is getting the friends in a divorce. You know what I'm saying? But this is also this season is also a good example of why when people get divorced, they have to the friends have to pick a side because it's hard to be in the middle. It's hard to be stay friends with both, and it's an unfortunate casualty of I hate to say war, but casualty of war. But honestly, that's really what it boils down to. And we see it all through this season, and we're starting to really get to see it a little bit more and more as the season progresses. Um, Barry and Tamika. So y'all, it's a fly in my house. It's so damn annoying. Every time I look up and I see it, I just be mad. Anyway, um, Tamika and Barry are having a difference of opinion on how Barry should be dealing with his son and the conversations he should be having with his son. His son got a speeding ticket. And Tamika's thing is, you need to talk to him. This is serious. He needs to understand. You need to talk to him. You need to talk to him. Kind of the same thing with the whole sex talk. Now, here, I said it last week about the sex talk, and I'm going to say it again about this conversation. First of all, some people said this in my comments, and I agree with you guys 100%. This child is old enough to drive independently, which means he's at least 16. That conversation should have been had before you gave him the keys to any vehicle. Just like the whole sex thing, the sex conversation should have been had. Like, I don't understand why he's 16 years old and ain't nobody talk to this boy about sex. Like, what the hell? Same thing with this. Before, especially in y'all situation, and let me explain what I mean by that. Y'all live in a nice neighborhood. I'm sure your son is driving a nice car. It's especially a bullseye on him driving in and out of a very affluent neighborhood in a very nice vehicle. He'll get pulled over and he's going to be dealing with a different element of police. He ain't dealing with city cops. He's dealing with the county cops. I know down there they're parishes, but you know what I'm saying? And so before you gave that boy keys and let him drive by himself, you should have had that conversation with him. I saw an episode. I don't know if you guys ever caught Holly Robinson Pete's reality show that she had on OWN a few years ago. It really wasn't that long ago. And she had an episode where she had a cop friend of hers actually pull her kids over and treat them not so nice. And me and a coworker of mine got into a debate about it because she was like, "Well, I think they went too far when they put the boys in handcuffs." I was like, "No, they didn't. I don't think they did." Because, and they even had Rodney come out and pretend to be irate and pretend to like say, "Hey, yo, those are my sons. They live in this neighborhood. What are you doing? Those are my sons." And the police like, "Back up, sir, back up." And I don't think they went too far with that whole scenario because at the end of the day, there is no cut. There is no and scene. You understand what I'm saying? So my coworkers thought they went too far putting the boys in handcuffs. I don't think they went too far. And in this situation, again, I wish no ill on Barry, but Barry, you slipping. Like, these are conversations that they may be uncomfortable. You may not like the reality that we're living in, but this is real shit right here. This is some real talk, and these are real conversations you need to be having with your child. And I feel bad because I just feel like he's not getting something. And Barry even told the story of getting pulled over. He wasn't doing anything wrong, getting pulled over. Um, he said he was 25 years old, driving a nice car, whatever, whatever. And the police were saying stuff to him like, "You too young to be driving a car like this. What, you a drug dealer or something?" And my thing is, and Two things that Barry said that hit me sort of weird. The first thing he said was, I was I was surprised when it happened to me. Almost as if to say that happens to other people. It doesn't happen to me. I had a good job. I was legit. I earned my money. I was, my car was legal. I wasn't doing anything wrong. So this shouldn't happen to me, which tells me ain't nobody had a conversation with you. The second thing is, that is all the more reason why you know that you should be having that conversation with your child. I just don't get it. And Tamika is annoying as you know what sometimes, but her point is very valid to say, look, this is a conversation you need to have with your son. And I can't, as a Black woman, when there's a man around, it's not my conversation to have. Now, if she were a single parent, you got to do what you got to do. But even then, I would say call an uncle, call a godfather, call somebody, a man, a Black man in your family to have that conversation, because they ain't going to receive it the same way. If I had kids, my brother's deceased, but I have a plethora of good friends that would be her play uncles, her goddaddies, my father, who would be able to have a conversation with I said her, I meant him, if I had a son. So anyway, I've been rambling on that for a long time, but that's my point. And Barry, I kind of feel some kind of way that, and we'll come back to that in a minute when we get to another conversation that he had with the fellas. I just feel like it's all the more reason why you should have that conversation. Anyway, Justin and Kelsey, let me tell y'all something about Justin and Kelsey. Kelsey, I told you last week what you need to do. Well, really wasn't last week. It was technically the day before yesterday, but it was last week's episode. I told you what you need to do. You need to move out. You need to be ready. You need to be ready for worst case scenario. And what worst case scenario is that he don't come after you. Let me say that on the front end. And it ain't going to be immediate. Maybe not. It may not be immediate. It may take him a few months. You have to be ready to walk away. You have to be legit ready to walk away. So here's what I say Kelsey needs to do. Because they're going out on date night, and then Kelsey starts talking about kids. Boo, if you can't get him to commit to engagement, why are you bringing up children? And then the impression I got from the conversation was, you want to be a stay-at-home mom. Ain't nothing wrong with wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, but that's a conversation. Because he said, well, we'll have to probably lean into family members and have nannies. And she was like, I don't want a nanny raising my child. I want to be able to pick my children up from work. But you're a nurse, so your schedule is just as crazy. Oh, speaking of which, I got to call a girlfriend of mine who's a nurse. She had surgery this morning. I need to call and check on her. All right, when I stop this video, I'll call her. But yeah, you know the kind of work schedule you have. Your husband, or the person you want to be your husband, he's an attorney in private practice. He has his own law firm. Or law practice. I don't know if it's a full firm, but he has his own law practice. Like, his name is on the door. You got to understand that it ain't a 9 to 5 for either one of y'all. So that's legit that he's saying, look, we would have to lean on family. So what are you saying? Are you saying you want to be a stay-at-home mom? That's what it sounds like you're saying. So if you can't get this man to commit to engagement, much less how long the damn engagement is going to be, once he finally does ask you to marry him, the engagement probably going to take 6 years. But that's another conversation. Here's what you need to do, Kelsey. You moved to New Orleans to be with him. So I ain't saying move back home yet. Give yourself a year. Move out. Find you a decent apartment that you can afford by yourself. Sign you a 6-month lease. Put him on cold turkey. I ain't saying ignore him. I'm not saying play games with him. What I'm saying is make him miss you. And let him know that you mean it. Let him know that you are serious about, this is what I want. I don't want to waste my time. And if you can't give me what I want, we're done. But you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready to stand in that. Anyway, which you're not. And it's okay. It's okay not to be. It's your life. So Reese and Reagan, who I'm over Reese and Reagan at this point. Reese is in the house painting the wall in stick figures. He misspelled understands, while Reagan is carrying a crib in the house. Why she carrying that crib in the house when she got a man in the house? Like you should have pulled up, went in the door, and was like, the crib's in the trunk. Ain't no way in the world you supposed to be carrying nothing at 3 months pregnant. Then her sister told you not to paint that damn wall, and you did it anyway, and it look a hot damn mess. Reagan ain't gonna do nothing, and she tried to act like she wasn't mad about it. She's trying so hard to make everything seem like they are just so perfect and so in love, and everything is great, and life is just so much better now. And the thing is, last week when they were at that party, when they were at Tamika's birthday party, every 2 seconds she's kissing this man. Every 2 seconds. And again, if you happy, be happy, boo. I'm not judging or mad at you. If you happy, be happy. But at the end of the day, I just feel like you really like, who you trying to convince, me or you? So neither here nor there. We'll get back to them in a minute. So we have Barry, Justin, and John Moody. Jeff had to work. Sidebar. What's Jeff's job? What did Jeff do? Because last season he was working with Reagan's company. So what is his job? What does he do? Because they said he couldn't be there because he had to work. And they said something earlier in the season about his job as well. And I'm like, well, what job you have, Jeff? And I believe you have one. And I'm not saying that like you can't work. I'm just wondering what do you do? What is it? Whatever it is, he couldn't make it to dinner. So he couldn't make it to the dinner, and John looked like John cooked a nice meal for the fellas, and they ended up having a conversation once again about driving while black. And Justin told the story of getting pulled over. He said he was on his way to a high school track meet. He said he had on his full track uniform. Oh, rewind. Barry sat in jail for 3 days because they said that he was fit the description. He said his mother posted his bail and he still sat in jail another day or something to that effect. So again, okay, so back to this. That was the situation with Barry. The situation with Justin was he said he was driving, he wasn't speeding, the volume wasn't turned up, he had on his school uniform, so it was clearly he was at high school, he was on his way to a track meet, pulled over. He said he looked in the rearview mirror and the guns were already on him. The guns were already on him. He said, thank God I didn't reach in the glove compartment for my license and my registration. They already had the guns trained on me. And again, that is why you need to have the conversation with your child, because your son wouldn't know the weight. If you don't tell him, he doesn't know the weight. Because what do we always know? You get pulled over by the police, you need your license and registration. So people automatically start reaching for their license and registration. I ain't even no black man. I don't reach for shit. I put my hands on the steering wheel. I wait till he approach my car. I let him say what he gonna say. Can I roll my window down? Roll my window down. Yes, sir. You pull me up. Okay, that's why you pulled me over. Okay, what you need? All right, I'm gonna get it now. Is that okay? I don't play. I gotta look. Let me tell you something. I got a smart mouth, but the time to be a smart mouth ain't that time, because at the end of the day, and Justin said it. He said his father told him, "Don't go out here getting smart with the police and getting sassy with the police, because that's a fight you won't win. You just won't win. You can cuss them out on the back end. You can cuss them out in your head, but in that moment, it is what it is. We don't have to like it." You know what I'm saying? We don't have to like it, but that's the reality of the world we living in. So anyway, so that was the conversation they sort of had with that. I don't remember Justin sort of telling anyone of his story. I really don't remember him telling a story. But again, Barry said he got smart with the police, and even Tamika was like, "You said that," because the police said something about, "I can't afford a car like this," and Barry gonna tell him, "Well, you must be in the wrong line of work." See, Barry, you ain't know you was driving while black. I don't know why you didn't know it, but somebody clearly didn't have that conversation with you, which is all the more reason. And that's the last time I'm going to say this, why you need to have it with your child. Last time I'm going to say it. All right. Friendsgiving. Jeff is excited. He got his cooking scarf on. He got the party people delivering the big table and chairs. He went out in the garden and cut flowers, and he decorated the table, and it looked really nice. Like, all right, you learned some stuff from Reagan or whoever you learned it from. He did a really good job, and he was cooking up his Cornish hens, honey, that he was kept calling baby turkeys. And he was ready. He was ready for his guests, and the guests were showing up, and everybody was pitching in and helping out, and everybody showed up with a smile on their face and ready for a good time. And Benny Poppins was there, and Jeff had a little number one sitting out, letting everybody know it's been a week since he had a drink. All of that. Now, I'd be curious to find out how long he was going to stop drinking. Like, was that a temporary thing? Because I don't think he ever planned to stop drinking forever. I think he was just trying to learn how to deal and process without alcohol. Neither here nor there. It was a great time. Now, Doug, we met Doug last week. I don't think I talked a whole lot about Doug last week. I think I mentioned that he was in the bridal party. He was going to be the man maid instead of the bridesmaid, or the bride's man, something like that, however they said it. Doug is the gay friend who's friends with both of them. He came to Friendsgiving. Reagan and Reese were not invited, because why would they be? And Doug pulls Jeff aside. Now, on the front end, I had a really big problem with what Doug did. But on the back end, once he explained why he did what he did, I kind of got him. I understood where he was coming from. So Doug pulled Jeff aside and said, Jeff, look, I got something to tell you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to be the one to bring this to you. However, I just don't want you to find out. And his reasoning for doing it when he did it, because at first I was like, why he couldn't wait until after Friendsgiving? Like, you could have hung back, helped Jeff clean up the house, and while you were helping him clean up the house, told him what you had to tell him. Because you could tell Jeff was just in a good mood. He was just having such a great time. And without alcohol, and he was just in it. Doug told Jeff Reagan's pregnant. And his reasoning for telling Jeff in that moment before the whole dinner got started is because he said it's basically the worst kept secret in New Orleans, and I didn't want you to find out from somebody tonight and be blindsided. Like, pretty much everybody here know but you, and I didn't want you to hear from somebody else. Y'all, I felt so bad for Jeff in this moment. Jeff was totally destroyed. Totally destroyed. I mean, he immediately started bawling. He was, he was just done. He said, you know what? I'm glad I wasn't drinking, because at this point I'd have took off. I'd be running. I'd be damn near to Alabama. He was like, two, I really don't want to deal with anybody right now. Like, I really am ready to just tell everybody to go home. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And, y'all know Bravo shady ass flashback to last year when Reagan didn't want to get pregnant, talking about it's not the right time. And he was like, she just didn't want to have kids with me. She just didn't want to have kids with me. And you could see how hurt he was. I mean, the man is bawling. And so while this is going on upstairs, everybody's downstairs, like, we ready to eat. Where's the food? Because, of course, it would be rude to eat without the host. And Benny Poppins was like, well, I can start serving the appetizer. We got some soup. But then he was like, well, where's Jeff? Oh, well, no, we can't do anything until Jeff gets here, because, of course, that would be rude to do it before Jeff got there. Jeff eventually comes downstairs, but you could tell his whole mood has changed. I mean, his eyes are red. He ain't really doing a whole lot of talking. It's quiet. Everybody eating, everybody grubbing. It's all quiet. Ain't nobody saying nothing. And then finally, y'all know who said something first. Tamika. Tamika is like, well, what's going on? Like, there is definitely some tension. Like, what's happening? And finally, Jeff says, well, look, it's really not my place to say this, but I just got some news. I just found out that Reagan was pregnant. And by everybody's lack of reaction, I think Jeff automatically knew that everybody knew but him, which made things worse. But here's where shit got really bad. Tamika, what? Every time I be trying with Tamika, she does something and pulls me back. Tamika, in that moment, was not the time to question whether this man was being honest about whether he knew or not. It doesn't matter. His reaction right in that moment lets you know he was upset about it. So regardless of whether he knew before that moment or not, have some fucking empathy. Have some daggone empathy about the situation. And so Tamika told my son, I mean, you knew. You had to know. I know you knew. Come on, Jeff. You and Reagan talk all the time. You mean to tell me you didn't know? I can't believe you didn't know. So Jeff is like, if I knew, why would I be sitting here? I've been upstairs crying, bawling my eyes out. If I knew, is that what I'd be doing right now? Like, come on, Tamika. And in that moment, Jeff gets up, he throws the plate, he walks off. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Because in that moment, I'm already processing. I'm already raw. I really don't even want y'all here anymore. And now you're going to question whether I'm being honest about my feelings? Because it's almost like you're saying my reaction isn't real right now. Like, I'm pretending to be upset because I already knew. No, I didn't fucking know. So anyway, so there's that. On the other side of town, we got Reese and Reagan planning their wedding, talking about what food they're gonna have and all of that. And Reagan, clueless, hmm, this clueless person, because I don't want to call her out her name. She starts complaining about how she feel like she don't have any friends anymore, and she feel like Tamika, why is Tamika doing this to her? Why is Tamika not speaking to her? Why is Tamika? You're talking about this is when I need her the most. I really need her right now. I feel like I've lost my best friend. We spent the first 3 episodes of this season with Tamika complaining about you doing the exact same thing to her. And when she said something to you about it, your reaction was, what's the big deal? I don't see what the problem is. I've been with my man. We're not joined at the hip. I needed you when I was going through things with Jeff, but now I'm happy. I don't need you anymore. Like that was how you would, that's what you were giving Tamika. That is what you were giving Tamika. So my thing is, now all of a sudden you need Tamika. You need her because you're trying to plan this bullshit wedding. And that's the only reason why you worried about where Tamika is, because you weren't checking for Tamika before. You wasn't checking for Tamika when you was making that baby. Now all of a sudden you checking for Tamika. So I have no sympathy for you, Reagan, because now you understand where Tamika was coming from the first couple of weeks. Now you understand what Tamika was saying, that she felt like she lost her best friend and you don't come around no more, you don't call her no more, you don't tell her what's going on in your life. So now that she took a step back and said, you know what, you wanted it to be you and Reese, I'm gonna let it be you and Reese. Now that she done stepped back, now all of a sudden it's a problem. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments, please.